Hi, welcome to the training for LinkedIn Sales Navigator. We're going to go through three sections through the training. So the first part is going to be the goals. We're going to be looking at what are we looking to achieve. We'll move on to the relationships and how we build relationships here at Marketing Voice. And then the actual nuts and bolts of LinkedIn Sales Navigator is the core, the meat of what we're looking to do and learn. Okay, so let's go into the goals first of all. Check out the video. Now let's look at the general idea of how we look to build relationships. So let's first of all start looking at the front end of Sales Navigator, some of the things that we're able to do as part of the CRM. On the front in the middle you'll see the news feeds, and this is really useful here in comparison to the standard LinkedIn is because these are your saved accounts, your saved individuals where you're able to easily like and comment. On the left hand side you've got some easy filters that you're able to get to. And on the advanced area here, we can see leads and accounts. We're going to be focusing mainly on leads. So it's good to have a play around to see where everything is. And so let's start off with searching for particular leads. We've pre-populated some of the items, the main items that we're going to be using. So you can see geography, the location. We've got industry there, I've put in legal. And at the bottom you can see the seniority. For relationships, we're going to keep it open. And the key positions that we like to look at is the director and owner, more senior positions. And finally, something that's not pre-put in for this, we'll do it now, is the company head counts, how many employees, and we'll start off with 11 to 50. So once this is done, the leads or the individuals will come up on the right in the main section if you do need to adjust. You do have to look on the left hand side, you can, but I suggest that make any adjustments at the beginning rather than halfway through, as it can cause some issues. But we will now look at saving the search. So if you do get a high volume of say 200-300 and you're not able to go through the list, then saving is useful. Just click on the save, and there is a structure that we'd like to put in. As you can see, it will be documented. And so we'll start off with your name, so who's taking ownership for the search, the size, the sector, city, and then today's date, which is useful to know when it started, because the process will take a number of weeks, so it's ideal to know. And on the documentations, we've put down stage 1, 2 and 3 indicating, so we know at what process the interactions are at. So at this point, once you've got your list, you want to be able to shift through the ideal ones. We want to be looking for people that have been owning the business or in a senior position for more than 2 or 3 years. Then at the bottom, we can see on the right hand side, we can see if they are active on LinkedIn. As we know, we do need to be able to engage with people that are engaging on LinkedIn, that are sharing information to be able to fulfill our purpose. So then we'll move on to the next. We can see that she's been the owner for about 3 years, director for about 3 years, and she did comment about 2 weeks ago. She did comment, or she engaged on LinkedIn about 2 weeks ago, according to her feeds. Let's have a look at saving an account. Now we've saved our list that we've searched through. Now we've narrowed Lisa down to think she's ideal. You can see the saving process is very easy there. So first of all, let's have a look at a new list that you're creating, and ideally it would have been copied and pasted from earlier on, because there's only one difference, is now at this point we're going to put a stage down where the interactions are at. By saving the list, it's a lot more easier now to find all those ideal people that we've already gone through, where they match the criteria. They've owned the place long enough, they've got their ideal headcount, employees, and they're engaging, so we don't need to look for them again later. And this is one of the cool features of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Okay, so let's continue with the list that we've found, looking for the ideal people. So let's have a look at Rick. He's owned his business for over 2 years now. We've got a number of shared connections, which is good, so there's something to talk about. We've got people in relation, but we can see here that he hasn't engaged with LinkedIn for over 30 days. So he's not socially active. This is an indicator that Rick may not be an ideal person to engage with, and so let's continue with our search. And again, we can see that Keely here, although she's had her business for a number of years, she's not socially active. So Sarah, 3 months, we're going to go past that. Jack, so a little bit longer in his business, 4.5 years. So we'll just click into that. 6 shared connections, which is good, there are some. And again, we can see that he's not socially active, so we're going to have to move on again. So Dale has 11 months, but we can see Duncan here with 3 years and 6 months. So let's click on here, let's see if we can get a little bit more luck. So we've got 10 shared connections, good. And we can see that Duncan was recently active. So what we can do is click on to see more. Okay, so that's been liked. And what we want to do is give us a reminder that we have done it, and adding a tag is very useful. Let's have a look at that now. We'll put that in that he's been engaged, and we'll add a little bit more details as well. The tags are really useful for search filters a little bit down the line. It might be in a month or 2 months time, and you know, by putting in the month I can see that this engagement was done in this particular month and the year. This is all useful information for us later down the line, which will be able to keep all the information concise. And there we go, a liked post. In the documentations there will be a list of tags that we can put in. That's going to be ideal to keep track of. There's various ways to do this, and it's a case of just finding what you prefer. You can do one at a time, or you can take a number of them and then add them all in by pressing enter. Whilst we're on Duncan here, let's for example, if we had left a comment, this is where we would want to be putting the notes, suggesting giving a little bit of information, what the post was about and what's been commented as well, and this gives good track if we do come back to it in a couple of weeks or a month's time. It's also good for my purposes as well to be able to understand how the relationship has built up. So let's have a look at saving the account. We want to put it into the list that's already been created and taking it on there. And so again, Duncan will be very easy to find on the list when we want to bring all of them up together. Now this particular list has got rid of all those people that don't engage, that do not meet the criteria. So this list is good as gold. Just so we can see, there is Duncan there, saved in the list. So imagine that a few weeks has gone on now, we want to go back to the list. We're on stage 1, looking to go on to stage 2 now, and we want to now have a look to see if we can endorse skills. This is a great way of building the relationship. You know, we want to be able to be giving in the relationship. It's helping their LinkedIn profile as well. And so let's have a look. This can be done by going onto LinkedIn, so by going onto the profile. As you may have saw on the right hand side, clicking on the 3 dots, and then scrolling down to the bottom where it's skills and endorsement, and you can see trust. Let's give that a click, and you can click away from it, which will then take you off, and that's all saved. And let's put a tag on there, so that's tracked. So let's put a tag on there, so that's tracked, that we've endorsed and engaged. This is really useful information when we are filtering data in the future. So let's have a look at connecting first of all. You can do that directly on Sales Navigator. So we're happy, we're engaged, we've seen that the individual, for example Rafiq, has been onto our profile and has visited us. Now by doing it on Sales Navigator, the box for some reason is a lot narrower, which may not be ideal. There is a template. We are flexible in what you say. It does need to be relevant in terms of the previous engagement that we've had, but I found it's a little bit easier by doing it directly on LinkedIn. So let's open that up. Let's go on to connect, and then add a note to make it more personalized. And that's what we're about, making the relationship more personalized, building it up. Now we do want to make suggestions of the previous interactions. It could be a post that they've shared and you've liked. Do write a message or a comment about what it was. And do try to come across as natural as possible. At this point we're trying to make the conversations flow. We want to keep it simple initially, as it's a connection, and we want to be able to give them the option, and making sure that it's signed off with my name. Okay, and of course we can see that Rafiq isn't the most ideal person. This is just for an example. There would have been tags of previous engagements, but for this example we will tag this that a connection request has been sent. So once the contact has accepted our invitation, they're ready to be moved on to the next stage and watch the next videos to see what to do next.